Hey, how we doing today, folks? My name is Matt, M-A-T-T. First things first, I want to say thank you so much for clicking on my video today. We're going to be discussing a game called Roulette. It's a dirty word in the casino. A lot of people hate the game Roulette. A lot of people say there's no way to beat Roulette. A lot of people say, well, if you want to throw your money away, if you want to make a donation to the casino, you might as well go play Roulette. Especially when it comes to online RNG Roulette. Now, for those of you who don't know, RNG stands for Random Number Generator. And if you're like me, and you've ever played these games, you've lost thousands. You've lost a lot of money. I've lost thousands. Fortunately, I was able to get it all back. And the way I did that was, back in February, I clicked on a video by a gentleman by the name of Charlie Barley. And he had the permutations video. You guys might remember him. And I saw opportunity when I first saw that video. I saw opportunity and I said, wow, this is really something. There's something going on here. And I actually had a chance to meet Charlie Barley. He flew out to Connecticut. I was one of his students, still am to this day, and he just changed my entire outlook. He really did. He gave me a new lease on life. His spirituality, the points he was making, I mean, the guy's like a preacher, and you just can't help but hang on to every word. One of the smartest people, if not the smartest gentleman I've ever met in my life. The cool thing is, what I've developed here is a branch off of permutations, and I said, Charlie, why don't you come out here, fly out to Connecticut where I live, take a look at this, we'll have a couple cocktails, we'll have a good time. That's exactly what we did, and he gave me his blessing. Charlie Barley gave me his blessing. He said, I really think you have something here. And he even tried it himself. He tried it 200 games, not spins, 200 games, and he hasn't lost once to this day. And neither have I, which I'm very happy to say, because man, did I get sick of losing. And what we're going to do today is something very special that you've probably never seen on YouTube before. We are going to play with real money. This $4,000 here, this is my money, it's under my name, it's real. We're not going to do anything in practice mode today. We're not going to do any sort of demonstrations like that. We are going to play, and we're going to win with real hard-earned money. Okay, I'm putting my own money at the line here, and I'm not nervous one bit because I know I'm going to come out on top, as I always do when I play it this way. Now, I'm not trying to poke at anybody else's systems. There's a lot of gambling videos out there, and I'm sure some of them are probably good, but you'll always notice they always show you on practice mode, and I never fully understood that. If something was the Excalibur, as they claim, and something was so good, why wouldn't they show you with real money? Why does it always have to be in practice mode? And it always just kind of skeeved me out a little bit, you know, not an attack on anybody else, or I'm not putting down anyone else's work, but my theory has always been, if something is that good, just show it with real money. I mean, why not? It's just so much easier, and obviously more of the truth, okay? Much more of the truth, and that's what you're gonna see here today. Now, the interesting thing is, we're actually not even gonna play roulette today. How's that for a twist? We are going to play the game called Baccarat. Baccarat, also known as Punto Banco, depending on which casino you're playing at. And roulette is easier because it has more anomalies. Baccarat only has 0 through 9, which makes the game much faster because the streaks are shorter. And roulette has variables of 37 and 38. Roulette's easier because the streaks are incredibly long. Those streaks can go on forever and ever and ever, and that can be a good thing. But the problem is most people don't know how to overcome losses. The reason I like Baccarat is because it's more difficult, but because I understand it enough to make winning much faster, even though it's more of a difficult game. The game is always great once you understand it. It's like a lion. You have to tame it. It's going to bite you every now and then, but if you're a good tamer, you're going to be able to take care of it just fine. Whoa, okay there, well, that's a little bit loud. Sorry about that, folks. As you can see, these games do come with music, and they do come with sound effects, but we're going to cut that down. Sorry if you enjoyed it, but it's going to be a little bit distracting, and no, I don't want to quit. Just want to shut the music off. Sorry about that, folks. Alright, back to the board. Now, I hate to be a little bit of a tease, but I am going to have to black out certain parts of the screen. I hope you understand. This isn't knowledge that I just want everybody to get right away and just broadcast to the entire world, because it is that powerful, and like anything powerful, in the wrong hands it could potentially be dangerous, and that's not something that I'm really trying to do. However, I am going to leave the bankroll up top, very visible, so you're going to see the numbers go down, you're going to see the numbers come up, but as you will see at the end of this, as every time I've played and every time Mr. Charlie Barley has played, the results are always positive. Not exactly sure how much we're going to go for today. I'd like to get something, in the $35, $40, maybe $45 range. But sometimes, it depends on what the board is showing us. Sometimes we see opportunities, sometimes we see opportunities that are a little bit of lesser value. But as good as a strategy is, proper bankroll management is equally as important. That's very important for you guys to remember. You don't want to have a good strategy with a really weak bankroll management. It always leads to disaster. A strategy is only as good as the management, and the management is only as good as the strategy. Kind of like the horse and carriage theory. You really can't have one without the other, and you don't want to have one without the other. You wouldn't ride a roller coaster without your safety harness, and you wouldn't wear a safety harness if you were on a roller coaster, so none of that would make much sense. But I think it's time we get this game started. I'm sure you guys have been waiting, so we're going to go ahead here and we're going to start throwing some chips on the board, and guess what? We are gonna win. And you can even see in the top there it says real play. Again, friendly reminder, this is real money. No practice mode here. I am playing right now with real money, not worried about it a single bit, because I know it's going to come out on top like it always does. Now, when I watched Charlie Barley's video on permutations, I noticed even he did it in practice mode, and him and I talked about that, and I said, Charlie, why'd you do it in practice mode? Why didn't you do it with real money? And I'd forgotten that at the time he was not a fan of RNG, this game style, which is random number generator. And the reason that he wasn't a fan of that is because he didn't trust it. He thought maybe there was some sort of rigging behind it. Like a lot of us do, I started to think that way after I was getting my butt whipped and lost a whole bunch of cash. But what him and I discovered by throwing our methods back and forth is that it's not rigged. It just seems that way to a lot of people because of the randomness. But you guys gotta remember, random is our friend. Okay, we like random. We're inviting random to our barbecues. We're giving them the first beer. And that's coming from a half Irishman, okay? Nobody gets the first beer at my barbecue except for me. But if random showed up, guess what? I'd crack a cold one for it, tell it to sit down, because like we learned in permutations, randomness can be challenged. Randomness can be challenged. So we like random. We love random. And that's why random, hence the name, random number generator, is our friend. And you're going to see that in our system. And of course, in the bankroll above. So you do want to keep your eye on that bankroll. Watch it go up, watch it go down, and you're going to watch it end victoriously. So right now, I'm just kind of focusing a little bit on the game, just making sure my progressions are right, making sure the strategy is sound. And it's kind of one of those things almost like Muhammad Ali used to do. He would stab and jab, stick and move. It's not really something where you want to sit there for hours on end and just play straight, play straight, play straight. You're going to burn yourself out because it does take concentration. But this is easily something that could bank you, on a shoestring budget, easily $30 an hour. And trust me, I've worked a lot harder than this for $30 an hour at my lifetime. Look at that, we're already up to $17. We've only been playing for, what, a minute, maybe two? Ooh, that was a good one. Alright, so we're just going to keep this going here, keep the game rolling. And as you can see, we're not making insanely massive jumps. We're not throwing $100 chips down on the board or anything like that. Nowhere near anything like that. We're just trying to be consecutive, consistent, and just make sure we take it down like a tree. Chop, 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 chop. That's our plan of action here. Let's see what comes up next. Okay, so now as you can see, we're going down a little bit. That's completely normal. It's nothing out there that's gonna, yields you a win every single hand or every single spin or anything like that. If anybody tries to peddle you that, if anybody tries to tell you they have some sort of system that's going to win every single hand or every single spin, they're lying to you. I'm sorry, they're just lying to you. I remember one time on eBay, I purchased a roulette system for $10. And I really just bought it out of morbid curiosity because the person that listed the auction said, "Win every spin guaranteed." And I thought to myself, I gotta see how big of a fraud this really is, because there was no way. He wasn't covering the whole board, so how could you win every spin? It's completely impossible. So, don't give people money that aren't going to show you something like this. Don't give people money that aren't going to actually go out there and put their neck on the line to actually prove that something big is going on. So, look at this now. We're already at $40. Didn't take long at all. Alright, so I'm going to drop a little bit just to make sure we're staying steady. And that was something that I learned especially from Charlie Barley, was bankroll management. He used to be a pretty big fan of the Martingale system, as you guys probably remember if you've seen his videos before. But when I had met up with him, he really broke down, the dangers of the Martingale system and how it can be a tool. It's not really a system in itself. It's just a bankroll thing, but it does get really scary really fast, and I can stand the heartache. And by heartache, I'm not talking about, some little filly broke your heart. What I'm talking about is when you have $60, $80, $100, $150 down on the board at one time, and you're just crossing your fingers like, please, please, please hit, please hit, please hit. I can't stand playing that way. No, thank you. I'd rather put the extra time into it and just do it safely, because I'd rather spend 1 hour and make $50 than spend 5-6 minutes and lose $500-$600. I've seen it happen before, and I've never had anything quite that devastating, but I've had things come close, and that's just not a world that I'm looking to go back to, and that's certainly not a world that I'm going to bring other people into. So as you can see, we hit a little bit of a run there, but oh, here we go. Ooh, look at that. All right, $76.50. That's a $76.25 profit in minutes. And that wasn't using the Martingale. That was playing safely. That was playing conservatively. That was knowing what to do at the right time. And that's really what it's all about, knowing what to do at the right time. So let me go back to the lobby here, and I'm going to show you that this balance is already shown up. It's already there. And the best part is I can withdraw this anytime that I want. I'm just going to click here, and you will see that it is all available. None of it's locked up. I can request a check, Bitcoin deposit, however which way I decide to do it. Money in my hands. That is a real $76.25 profit in minutes. Very, very important for you guys to see, because I have just shown you with real money, real withdrawable, even says right there, cash. Love that word, cash. That this works, and this is something that will not do you wrong. Now, I own a website called www.rouletterecovery.com, and the reason I chose to use the word roulette in the title is because that tends to be the game that most people need to recover from, because we've all been there. We've all took whipping on roulette, especially myself. I actually gave up on the whole casino thing until one glorious day in February when Charlie Barley's video came across my newsfeed, and it was almost fate, because I hadn't watched a video on gambling in probably 3 or 4 months, and it just so happened to come across my newsfeed, and I thought to myself, well, nothing's on accident. This is here for a reason. So you can visit my website, www.rouletterecovery.com. If you're interested in learning what I've just done and you want to do it on a daily basis, or even a very consistent basis like I do, then you want to go to that website. And if you check in the description below, you're also going to see my email address and even my phone number. Give me a call. I'd be happy to chat with you. Happy to, send some text messages back and forth with you and just get to know you guys really well. As a matter of fact, I even have a video on my site which I made a couple weeks ago when I was trying this stuff out, and I threw money away. I actually went down on purpose just to prove that the recovery system of this is so powerful that I wasn't even scared about throwing money down the drain, making that casino donation, and in a very short controlled amount of time I was able to come back up. And I want to build a system to where it's symbiotic, it works for me, it works for you, and it's in my best interest that you win. So if you want to see the terms and agreements and all the details on that, go to my website, www.rouletterecovery.com. Take a look at it, let me know what you guys think, and just a reminder, in the description is also my phone number, my email address. Feel free to hit me up anytime. In the meantime, stay safe, play safe, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you all soon. Feel free to check back for updates. Take care.